Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do another classic. This is an 80s comics called Comic Presents Superman and OMAC One-Man Army Corps. This is issue 61. And yeah, I mean, we all know Superman, right? But do we know OMAC? I know OMAC, but I don't know where he comes from, what his purpose is, So I like to know more about that. That's why I'm, among other things, doing this. And I have the new 52 OMAC that I've reviewed. So if you want to check it out, what I talk about, check out my videos and search for OMAC. You'll find it there. But that was the new 52. It looks totally different. So, and I was more curious about the original OMAC, the one-man army corps. That's it. So without further ado, let's dive in. It's been the creator is Len Wein, George Perez and Pablo Marcos are the illustrators. So this is in the future, right? And basically OMAC is hunting, evil scientists, that's probably what he's doing. He's a hero here, right? And I immediately like the costumes. And now look at this. First of all these great details here. But, look at this, all these details on these henchmen that you probably never, ever going to see again. But still, it's still looking cool. And all this weapons here. It's just, oh man, so much detail. I love it. Anyway. So, I didn't know that Brother I, who was, in the other OMAC, was basically the enemy, right? I mean, and I believe it's also, let's not talk about that. I need to stop talking about, what's happened in modern comics, but let's stick what we have here. But let's say Brother I here is an ally of OMAC instead of, his enemy or his controller or whatever, right? And he's drawing power from that. And it looks great. I only have the problem that I know it looks like he's balding. Anyway, so Brother I helps him to find his target. And they say, hey, we need to hurry because he's here in seconds. But, the seconds are gone because OMAC is here. Right, and he's beating up all these, evil scientists, right? And he says, and this guy says, activate the times transmitter. Then the whispered rumors I overheard are true. You are all mad. Mad or not, you're too late to stop us. I triggered the time transmitter and its self-destruct systems. Our pre-program assessors is now in transit without any means of retrieval. So he dives into this, portal, if you will, and they are gone. And they say, incredible, he frauded us again. Can OMAC have actually followed our assassin, or is he lost forever somewhere in the mists of time? But even Brother I has no connection with OMAC anymore. So I'm not sure if OMAC is a bioorganic entity, is he a robot, or not really sure. I have to do a little bit research about that. But meanwhile, in the present time, well, basically in the 80s, the police has surrounded, some crooks, some bad guys, right? And they say, hey, I'm getting us out of here, says this guy, right? Because he's Nick Bravo, right? And then the police are shooting. They're not wimps and pussies. But he says, got any more bright ideas, boss? I always got an idea, Huey. One way or another, I'm getting us out of here. But then something happens, and it's not Sergeant Rock, but it's Murdermek. And Murdermek is looking for a target. And he says, where is my victim? So this guy is shooting him, and Murdermek is not amused. And he says, your weapon is effective against me. I am indestructible. Warning, stand aside or suffer. So then he's going outside where the cops are waiting for him. So he's destroying some cop vehicles and also warning the cops that they need to stand aside or they will suffer. And so Nick says, see, I told you I'm getting us out of here. He said, we have a problem. Yeah, what's that? Look up in the sky. And it's Superman. Superman, he says, no, there's never been a dull moment in the city. So Superman comes in and he says, my name is Superman, and I really don't want to hurt you. Why don't you put this police car down? So I observed, that this robot has actually a sense of humor. And he says, if you wish the vehicle down, you shall have it down. But Superman doesn't flinch. And I must say he's pretty, aggressive here. And I like that because I know, I mean, in the the Superman I know from the 90s is more, not that aggressive, but he's immediately attacking the robot. And what I like about George Perez's art is his kinetic sequences here. He is, his art is very fun to look at, right? But Murdermek is ready for him, and he shoots him, with concussion rockets. It's just, and he, like I said, his kinetic action is real good. So he's falling into this building that has been, I don't know, how do you say? What does it say? Keep out. This building is condemned. Yeah, that's the word. Sorry, I couldn't read it. And so Murdermek is going away because he wants to seek out his victim. So this bunch of goons are following him, right? And then OMAC comes in and he says, "Hey, where am I?" So he's going outside. So this cop says, "Hey, your bulletproof buddy may have taken a powder long hair, but you ain't gonna be so lucky. Don't even flinch for it. You're under arrest." So, but then he says, "What are you jabbering about, man? There's a mechanical killer on the loose, and I've got to find him before it's too late." "Cripes, he's just as strong as the other one," says the cop. But then Superman comes in and he didn't see it, but he has his conclusion that, OMAC is also one of the bad guys, right? So, yeah, immediately attacks OMAC. And OMAC is defending himself, right? He says, I'm sorry for any accidental injury I may cause, but I'm playing for the desperate stakes here. And I can't let anyone or anything stand in my way. Not even you." But Superman doesn't, also not flinching again. He says, "What a bet?" "Enough, my friend. This is getting out of hand, and I've got a gut feeling we should be working together, not at odds." But, Superman is saying, "Well, you should have thought about that before you started this little slugfest. Actually, it was you who started this." "Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it?" So he realizing his mistake, so he's taking OMAC with him, right? Well, the cops are just saying, "Oh, man, what's happening?" And they're standing here at the edge of the building. So OMAC explains what's going on. So he explains that he is coming from a time period where the world where unrelenting technology is the new religion, and where the tenacious peace is kept by the face mask members of the Global Peace Agency, the GPA, where I, once a very common laborer named Buddy Blank. I like it when they still have names with a double letter, like Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, that kind of stuff. I like that. But then he was chosen to be a guinea pig for the Professor Miriam Forrest's greatest invention, Brother Eye. And Brother Eye has transformed this Buddy Blank into the one-man army corps called OMAC, using complicated process of remote control electronic hormone surgery. That was a mouthful. And he's been transformed into the living embodiment of some ancient god of war, right? So meanwhile, our murder robot explaining that he is looking for Buddy Blank, and his name is Norman Blank. So this is basically the Terminator time. No, what I'm saying, the Terminator plot. When the Terminator go back in time, murdering. Why am I blanking? The parents of John Connor, right? So basically, that's it. So so OMAC is John Connor. So this guy says, "Hey, and what if we don't help you?" He says, "I will reduce you to the protoplasmic slime which spawned you." And they say, "All right." So, "Hey, spread out," says the robot. He said, "How do we get in touch?" And he says, "Let me take care of that," says the robot, right? All right, OMAC explains this particular part to Superman, and Superman using his telescope vision to help OMAC. Well, the robot is scanning for, what's his name? Buddy Blank? No. Norman Blank, right? And then he finds the bioscan. And he says, "This is positive." Now look at this. All right. So he attacks them, and he's still quirky. Declaration, you are my target, Norman Blank, and it's time for you to die. Say what? Is that thing talking to me? But I'm not. And he shoots. No, this is crazy. Somebody help me. Superman comes in, and he's now prepared for this, these rockets. And he's bringing, this man to safety. And he says, stay here. And he says, look, and he's so scared, right? So the robot says, the superior humanoid has somehow managed to survive our previous encounter and has now thwarted the successful completion of my mission. Conclusion, the superior humanoid is a nuisance that must be eliminated. So Superman comes in, he just smacks him down through this concrete floor, down below to, this rail mill terminal, right? So the conclusion here, or the opinion, that, conclusion is that Superman must be destroyed. So Superman comes in, right? But then he is, the robot is still strong, and he's very well equipped. And Superman says, these tentacles, some kind of a super resilient plastic, won't be so easy to break them. Correction, it will be impossible to break them. However, it will be quite simple for me to break you. I like it. He's not talking like a mindless robot, although he's probably mindless, but I like his quips, his lines. Anyway, so the cop says, hey, can you come down here? But then he's being shot at. And it's these goons, and it seems that the robot has provided them with some, flying gadgets. It's crazy cool. But then OMAC comes here, and he says, OMAC, to be honest, little man, I am nothing you've ever seen, because, he basically states that, he's not seen anything like him. I am the sum total of humanity's greatest hopes and aspirations, the living embodiment of its dreams for a better tomorrow. OMAC lives so that man may live. What a cool line. He says, oh, mama. So OMAC destroys it and also, rescues this guy because it's exploding, right? And, but, the other ones are attacking him. Where is Brother I when I really need him? But here in the future, Brother I is, completing some scans and plotting probabilities, weighting alternatives, deciding on a course of action. And then he's some kind of energy he's shooting down below, towards Earth, right? And OMAC is a little bit distracted. So he's getting attacked again, right? And he barely escapes. But then Superman is still dealing with this very clunky robot. But it seems that although he's clunky and, he does not have many movements, Superman has a tough time dealing with that, right? He said, what's that plastic made of? It shrugs off blows that would shatter Gibraltar, and it's keep coming back for, oh my Lord. And this looks cool, right? Look at all these details. This is really getting out of hand. Statement, the superior humanoid continues to impede the successful completion of my mission. Basically, he's saying you need to be destroyed. Don't waste your time, Tin Man. That crate wouldn't even mush my hair, but it does give me an idea. So he's using, talking to Murdermek here. So he's using his supervision to melt the subway car into, hot molten metal. And that, you can imagine it flows over the Murdermek, and Superman uses his cold breath. Or is it now Arctic breath? I mean, they're all changing the names, but I'm still using the cold breath because, in my opinion, it was the original name. Arctic breath is cool too, right? So Murdermek is done for. And the people are saying, yay, Superman. Superman thinks, my only problem is sending this robot and OMAC back to where they came from. But meanwhile, in the future, Brother I is trying to solve the problem because the beam that is shooting down on Earth or towards Earth is, he's basically reassembling the time machine, right? And he says, have faith, OMAC. Brother I is here. Brother I will save you. All right, but then Superman is blown away because Murdermek has, he's still alive. Well, you cannot say alive because it's a robot. He says, You are a formidable superior humanoid, but Murdermek is invincible. Rise and I shall strike you down again. But Superman says, you can try and knock me all down you want, robot, but I just keep getting back up. You see, Superman or otherwise, you're not just fighting a man here, Murdermek. You're fighting an ideal, and an ideal can never be destroyed. Sounds very patriotic. I like that. But I'm not sure if that's really a part of Superman. I mean, I know he's just as true in the American way, right? But still. But Superman says, I'm exhausted and I give him everything I've got. Observation, you struck a valiant, superior humanoid, but you have lost. So Murdermek comes back, but then he's starting to stutter, and it seems that Superman damaged him so much that he's exploding. It's just Superman's just standing there. So Superman is just flying away to fight OMAC because this mess isn't over yet. But then he finds OMAC, beating, these thugs, and he says, they were fighting merely one-man Superman instead of a one-man army. All right. So Superman says then, I'd like you to introduce the man unwittingly responsible for all of this. OMAC, meet your predecessor, Norman Blank. So this guy says, I tried to tell everyone, but I'm not Norman Blank. What? My name is Olna Berkowitz, and I'm in a hardware game. He says, but if you're not, then who? And Superman wants to have an explanation, but OMAC says, I'm tingling and fading. It seems that Brother Eye has found me and he's calling me home. Farewell, Superman. And Superman is standing behind or left behind, confused. But then, if OMAC and I were busy protecting the wrong man, where the heck was the real Norman Blank? Well, it was this guy. And you can say, but what wasn't the Murdermek scanning this guy? Well, if you look closely, real close, it was this man behind this man. So Murdermek was positive, but not 100%. Funny. All right, guys, that's it. I like this. This is a nice one-shot. Story's not all too complicated, but, the story and the action, it was fun. And that's what you want in the comic. You want to have fun, right? So, guys, let me know in the comments below if you like this. See you next time. Bye-bye.